Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a couple of family members, friends, and colleagues. I definitely appreciate the support. I wanted to talk a little bit about TRON ARES. This is going to be my review for TRON ARES. Not going to try to make it too long-winded. Overall, thought the film was good. I definitely recommend the film in theaters. So I'm already telling you I recommend this film to you. Definitely watch this film in theaters to get the full experience, right? You have a soundtrack from 9 Inch Nails. Definitely good to hear that soundtrack on the big speakers in whatever theater you can go watch this film in. I definitely recommend the biggest screen possible. So whatever screen that may work for you, different theaters have their own theme of screens. If you could watch this in IMAX, that'd probably be pretty cool as well, to be quite honest. I do know they have IMAX showings also. Like I said, I heard 3D is definitely something interesting, and I think maybe in 3D this film is even better than what I scored it in just the standard format. But yes, I saw it in Cine XL at a Harkins theater. This is the seating chart, and by the way, the theater had a lot of walk-up business, and when I say the theater, I'm talking about my showing in particular. So there were more people that were actually sitting in the rows next to me, behind and in front, of course. But there was definitely more people in the theater than this chart is showing, but this was the seating chart. Now, this chart on about Wednesday, Thursday, it was only about 7 seats actually bought up. So now you can see the difference here as you see the release date of the film. And I do think there is a lot of walk-up business, and I do think people wait to the last minute to get their tickets. I'm just an early bird when it comes to getting tickets, so I can kind of understand that and how it works. But overall, yes, the film was solid work. Good acting overall, the visuals on point. We knew that was going to be the case. The plot did what I needed it to do. It was a little more serious, which is what I wanted, and I felt like the stakes were present. There were real stakes at hand in this film, and there was multiple scenes in the film where you definitely felt that scene cut through to you so you could understand the importance of the scene and the gravity of the scene. There was some humor involved as well, but I thought it was pretty intricately placed into the film. It actually brought levity at certain points in time in the film. I'm not going to say the film is a dark film. Obviously, I guess aesthetically you could say it's dark, but I wouldn't say the themes are that dark. You could say there are some dystopian themes about the film. There are some themes regarding AI and technology that are themes that you've seen in the news, pop culture references, or just even topics of discussion when it comes to big tech corporations, right? You have a couple of technocrats in this film, right? Some are warring against each other, some are not. You have Incom, right, who is run by a specific character. Eve Kim, who is played by Greta Lee. She did a good job in this film and is really the main character in the film. And then you have Evan Peters, Julian Dillinger, who's running his side of the company now, right? And he's taken over for his mother, who is played by Gillian Anderson. You know her as Dana Scully from X-Files, but she plays Elizabeth Dillinger, right? And they are heirs to the throne of the Dillinger Corporation. And so really the Dillingers are in power at this point, trying to steal code and information from Eve Kim, right? The permanence code. That's a huge key for this film. And so you have those two corporations kind of going against each other, but really one-sided in a sense. I'd say Julian Dillinger is the antagonist of this film, and Eve Kim and ARES are the protagonists of this film. ARES doesn't necessarily start out as a protagonist, but he does become a protagonist. Also, you have Jodie Turner-Smith as Athena, and so you have ARES and Athena, right? The Greek gods and mythology. Those are the AI beings, you could say, and they have their sentient ways at times, but really, Jared Leto and hers relationship is very interesting, right? Almost like brother and sister in a sense. And Julian is pretty much their controller. He'd be like Zeus, right? And so, not to give away too many plot details, but very intricate relationship between those three alone before you even get to Eve Kim's character, her reason for doing what she's doing, right? She has a pretty good story as well. There's arcs that I think are really well placed in this film, and unlike one battle after another, when they build out specific characters, I feel like they actually fulfilled that character's arc for the film itself. Now, if there's going to be some sequels, which I do think there will be sequels, but I'm not going to give any spoilers away on that, I think it really does help that they did develop these characters in this film to push them along. Now, I'm not sure if Jodie Turner-Smith is going to return for possibly a 4th Tron film, but her being an AI being in a computer system, I guess anything is possible. You could always just reprogram the character itself. Obviously, Jeff Bridges is in this film as Kevin Flynn. Very cool. homage to him, to be honest, and an homage to the original Tron, I think is really cool as well. And I think people are really going to get a kick out of that, especially people that have been with the series since the franchise started. I think that's going to be a very cool scene and just, I guess, experience for them. So I thought the film did a good job of tying in the future, right? Also the past with Tron Legacy and Tron itself. Overall, like I said, I think this film is good work. Thought the acting was solid. I thought the plot was decent. It did what I wanted it to do with this film. Doesn't feel like a Disney production. The visuals on point, like we said they would be. There was nothing jarring about the visuals. There was no bad visuals in this film. So they definitely put the budget to good use when it came to the effects. I think this film has a great balance of using practical effects and using CG, just enough so that they balance each other out. I feel like it was more in the practical with this film. And so, once again, it just cuts through a little differently. That's one thing I don't like about modern filmmaking now. When you're going with the digital format, a lot of it is CG work, a lot of VFX behind the scenes, and it can be done, but people have to be meticulous about how they do the CG work and the visuals when they decide to present it, right? Especially in post. With this film, like I said, they leaned more into the practical, and I really liked the suits that they had, the light cycles. They used the real world a lot to their advantage, right? Film was shot impeccably. I really did like the angles they took. I thought the score, like I said, with 9 Inch Nails, the score, the specific songs were placed very well. So I thought that was pretty good as well. Like I said, this is a film you need to watch in theater so you can get the full encapsulation of the film itself. It's definitely a film I'm going to watch again in theater. And so with that being said, I'm going to score Tron Ares a 79.5 out of 10. Once again, that's a 79.5 out of 10. More than likely within my top 6 favorite films of the year. Graded it very hard, but like I said, it's a film that does what it needs to do. Not perfect, but it does what it needs to do. I feel like it was a great addition to the Tron franchise, and I'm excited to see what's going to be, I guess, coming our way in the future, because they do reference some things that let you know there is going to be a sequel. They're not shy about it. There is a mid-credit scene too, so definitely stay after those initial rolling credits. You're going to see some cool stuff there that really is the conclusion to the film. But as I said, the film was serious when it needed to be. It added levity with some comedy when it needed to be. I thought the dialogue was pretty good. It's nothing too crazy, right? It's not going to be something that's going to be the most artsy film or the most brainy film, but I do feel like the story does have depth to it, and I feel like there's a lot of things that we can relate to right now in modern society when it comes to technology and how we approach technology. One, you can use it for the good or you can use it for the bad, and also you can manipulate it to do certain things, and that also has a price to pay, and that's why I like Gillian Anderson's character. She was really the voice of reason for her son in the film. And so she said a lot of things that made a lot of sense, letting him know that he can't really control these programs like he thinks he can, even though he did code them. There's a couple things with the film that I would have liked to see them clean up, but overall, not a bad film. Definitely recommend this, Tron Ares, 2 thumbs up. I'm going to be watching it again. Let me know if you're going to watch this film down in the comments. Also, let me know what you thought about the review. Definitely want to talk to a couple people about that. Also, if you've watched all 3 Tron films, let me know what your favorite Tron film is and where this one stacks up. And also, let me know if you're excited for a potential sequel. I think this film deserves to do good, and I think people should go watch the film. Don't pay attention to the critics much. I give it a pretty good score. You should just go watch it based off that. Obviously, Rotten Tomatoes, we talked about that earlier. Not going to reference that too much more. Let's see what IMDb has to say about this film as far as the score. Okay, and so I have it up right now. IMDb has Tron Ares sitting at a 6.7 out of 10. So very interesting there, right? And I got that on the screen so you can watch it for yourself. But overall, like I said, I think it's a good film. I think it's something that was needed for Disney, to be honest. If I had to rate just the visuals alone, and you could argue quality of the film, like I said, Fantastic Four is a good film. I actually gave it around the same score. But I'd say if you're talking just visuals alone and seriousness of film, I think this is probably the best product that Disney has put out under the Disney brand, not necessarily like 20th Century Studios or any of those offshoots. We just talking strictly Disney. I'd say this is probably one of the better projects they've had in the last 7 or 8 years, especially visually. So that's pretty cool stuff there for Tron Ares. But yep, that's the IMDb score there. And I'm going to leave it at that, ladies and gents. Please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you haven't, share this video. It helps out definitely with these copyright strike issues I'm going through right now. That's going to be off in about 30, 35 days, so can't wait for that. Like I said, I appreciate all the support. Be safe. It's Neff signing off.